Rabbits are a popular choice for many families, with an estimated 900,000 rabbits kept as pets in the UK. And it's no surprise, as rabbits are brilliant, inquisitive animals. Owning rabbits can be extremely rewarding. Rabbits come in various breeds, shapes, and sizes. Each bunny has a unique personality. They typically live for 8 to 12 years, but some may live longer. Take a look at our rabbit care advice to find out how to keep your bunnies happy and healthy. Rabbits are vulnerable to infectious diseases and illnesses, especially dental diseases. They feel pain but don't show any outward signs, which means they may suffer before you notice it. Keep a close eye on their health daily and watch for every detail they have. But when the Robbins family woke up that morning and checked on their beloved pet that day, they were shocked. A Winston-Salem family always knew their rabbits were special. However, they were amazed to find out their rabbits could compete with a Guinness World Record. The Robbins family said that their mama rabbit named Vader gave birth to a litter of 24 baby bunnies. The litter unofficially ties the Guinness World Record for the largest recorded rabbit litter, which is 24 born to New Zealand rabbits. Tiffany Robbins said her entire family was surprised. That's because they were told the male rabbit named Romeo was fixed. So, they were in shock as Vader kept giving birth to several bunnies. It was like 10, then 15, and then I was like, oh my gosh, we have 24 bunnies, Robbins said. Not all the baby bunnies survived, as the mama rabbit had too many to care for, but the family stepped up to help her care for them. They're doing all they can to nurse the others to good health. Romeo is staying with a family friend, and they've given the Robbins another female rabbit this time. How many babies do rabbits have in their first litter? As early as 3 months of age, rabbits are able to achieve sexual maturity. When this occurs, they'll make an effort to have offspring. It's possible that this could happen with a parent or a sibling, which is why the kids need to be kept apart to avoid unintended births. According to research conducted by the University of Miami, a female rabbit's first litter may contain anything from 1 to 14 young, with 6 being the typical number. It's quite improbable that all these baby rabbits will make it through this ordeal alive because it's possible for a first-time mother to neglect her young. You need to take extra precautions to ensure that the kits are kept warm and nourished properly. The mother must continue to care for her young for roughly 8 weeks after they've been born. After that, you'll have to separate the children from their mother. While we're talking about rabbits and giving birth, did you ever hear about the story of the woman who gave birth to rabbits? Mary Hoodwinked London in 1726. The best physicians, scientists, and even the king had been duped by her. Evidently, she was capable of producing bunnies, and although no one had been clamoring for it, everyone was obviously interested in it. Toft kept his word 17 times in a row, creating a spectacle that captivated the country for several months. At least, until she finally came to light, Toft is now just remembered as a footnote in history's strange books. She's evolved into a cocktail fact, a listicle entry, an enigma, and evidence that people in the 18th century must have been fundamentally absurdly different from us. Toft was a poor woman, caught up in a power struggle between strong men and lost control of her body as a result. Karen Harvey, a historian at the University of Birmingham, believes that we should take Toft's narrative more seriously, since it reveals a lot about its time and place. Harvey argues, we know it's absurd and the premise is absurd, but when you think about it, it's a very horrifying tale. When Harvey started explaining Toft's case to the undergraduate history students, she quickly learned that many of the details she believed were essential to the case had been largely ignored by historians. She claims that not many people have inquired about her and her life. Harvey then investigated Toft's confessions, which are currently housed in special collections at the University of Glasgow. The researcher was astonished by Toft's apparent grief and how clearly she expressed the pain of the entire experience. Toft didn't seem to be a brilliant manipulator, but rather someone who had been taken advantage of. But during the entire process, she'd maintained that there are ladies who put me up to it, Harvey claims. I doubt she had any influence at all. Mary Denyer gave birth to Toft in 1703 in Godalming, Surrey, roughly 40 miles outside of London. According to Harvey's paper, Rabbits, Wigs, and Hunters, Women in Protest and Mary Toft's Monstrous Births of 1726. Godalming was one of the poorest communities in the country. Joshua Toft, a wood textile worker, proposed to her at age 17, and the couple soon had 2 children. Mary Toft traveled 2 hours to work in a hop field each morning, adding another arduous day to an already arduous existence. When Toft gave birth to her first monster, she was only 25. On September 27, 1726, the scam got underway. She had miscarried the previous month, which was usual for pregnant peasants in the 18th century, because they had to continue laboring in the fields. She also reportedly gave birth to many lumps of meat, which may have been a deformed placenta, but this most recent birth didn't seem to be a human being. According to Fiona Haslam from Rogath and Rosen, Medicine and Art and 18th Century Britain, Toft's family considered the neighborhood obstetrician, John Howard, who assisted her in giving birth to what was described as 3 legs of a cat and a tabby color and 1 leg of a rabbit. The guts were as a cat's, and in them were 3 pieces of the backbone of a Nicky Russell, who works in the University of Glasgow's Special Collection, said that Toft gave birth to 9 dead young rabbits on one especially busy day. Howard, fascinated by what appeared to be a supernatural occurrence, wrote to England's most esteemed physicians and scientists, as well as King George I's secretary. Samuel Molino, the Prince of Wales's secretary, and Nathaniel St. Andre, the monarch's Swiss surgeon anatomist, were ordered to conduct the investigation. As a result, Toft's local fame, Howard had relocated from Godalming to Guildford, a larger community. Whenever Toft brought a rabbit, Howard immediately pickled and put it in a jar on a shelf in his office. On November 15th, when the noblemen came, they were very conveniently informed that Toft did just give birth to her 15th dead rabbit. When another pair of babies were born in front of St. Andre and Molino, examination of the rabbits revealed that, as one might anticipate, they could not have come from Toft's body, because one of them had hay and grass residue in its stomach. Others appeared to be 3 months old, while some looked like fetuses. According to British historian Edward White in the Paris Review, St. Andre was simply excited by the possibilities and attempted to explain away the situation by claiming that the contractions during labor were to blame for the rabbits being delivered dead, and in some cases, in pieces. St. Andre then returned to the king with one of the pickled bunnies. Toft explained that she had been working in the field when she was startled by a rabbit. According to Russell, this idea was consistent with the material impression theory, which was extremely popular at the time, and sought to explain birth deformities and other congenital illnesses. According to Joseph Merrick, or the Elephant Man, his infliction was caused by his mother being scared of an elephant while she was carrying him. St. Andre was adamant that Toft's case was a beautiful illustration of this notion. Others, like the well-known midwives Sir Richard Menningham and James Douglas, not so much. Toft was brought to a London bathhouse on November 29th for additional observation. In her essay, What Mary Toft Felt, Women's Voices, Pain, Power in the Body, Harvey claims that there she was regularly evaluated by as many as 10 doctors at once, all of whom were men. She stopped giving birth to bunnies and seemed to have become pretty unwell. However, at this time, a porter was seen bringing a rabbit into Toft's chamber undetected. He told Douglas that Margaret Toft, Toft's sister-in-law, had instructed him to get the tiniest rabbit he could find. When Manningham threatened to undergo surgery to see if Toft had unusual reproductive organs, Toft finally agreed to confess. She revealed herself on December 7th. Few were startled by her confession, but it came at a bad time for St. Andre, who had just 4 days earlier released his gripping true-to-life exposé, a short narrative of the extraordinary delivery of rabbits. Naturally, his career was never quite the same after that.